Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Green White Checker TV's presentation of the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. We are live from the Tricky Triangle, Pocono Raceway. We got a beautiful weather afternoon today here in the scenic Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. We're in for an exciting night of action at this 2.5 mile speedway. About 2 minutes or so left of practice. And before we do, as we watch from our camera high above Pocono Raceway, as a crowd is starting to pile in off a Long Pond Road. This track here opened 1969. Famed Summer 69, Pocono Raceway first opened, designed by Roger Ward, a former 1959 Indianapolis 500-mile race winner. He designed the turns that we're looking at here. Turn 1, just out of frame, designed. And let's see if we could jump down, take a look at Turn 1. There's Turn 1, designed after the old Trenton Speedway in Trenton, New Jersey. Now a housing development. Famous kidney-shaped track. You may have seen some old pictures of that. Taking a look over at Turn 2. Known to us today as the Tunnel Turn. This was designed after the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a track that still stands today. And in just about 2 weeks' time is home to the famed Indianapolis 500. Finally, Turn 3. The famed Milwaukee Mile, still sitting there today, still hosting races. I believe there's a super late model race there later this year, an ARCA Menard Series race later this year at the Milwaukee Mile. Track that's just legendary in racing circles in the Midwest. And if you could tell, all three of these turns very, very different from one another, which makes a race at Pocono some of the best that there is. Tricky to figure out, and the reason why they call this the Tricky Triangle, tricky to figure out what the exact setup you need, how to drive each of these corners. In addition to the big track here, Pocono also had a 3/4 mile oval designed around what is today the garage area and entry and exit of pit lane. Very long straightaways, fairly tight corners, and hosted the Race of Champions Modified Series, something that's still run today. Currently, they host a yearly Race of Champions race, kind of the season-ending Super Bowl, if you will, of the Race of Champions series. Hosted today at Lake Erie Speedway, but also hosted at Oswego, Chemung, Flemington Speedway, some of the greatest racetracks in the Northeast for asphalt modified racing of past and present, including here 3/4 mile oval on the front stretch at Pocono. Hosted that race until 1991, where Satch Worley was the final race winner of that event before it was moved to the Flemington Speedway in 1992 for the running of that Race of Champions event. And it looks like our field is starting to get lined up for qualifying here. So we'll take a look and see here as qualifying. We'll keep an eye on it as we talk about some of our storylines for today's race. A big storyline to watch, and I'm going to go ahead and drop up our points here for everybody as we're getting ready to get started. Maxwell Caldwell, currently our points leader, 7 points over Gary Silipinski, Ryan Kelly in third, John Held in fourth, Mark Brown and Isaiah Sutherland tied for fifth. Now, last week's race, we saw a lot of eventful action. Isaiah Sutherland got away with the victory after having some calamity mid-race with a lap car. But the story of the evening was Ryan Kelly. Fast again was Ryan Kelly. 2 of the 3 races, he was the dominant car. Unable, though, to get the victory done in both of those races. First race of the season at Auto Club Speedway in California saw Ryan Kelly leading the race and slapping the wall coming out of turn 4 on the very last lap. Exciting finish of Maxwell Caldwell and John Held racing to the finish line for the win. And last week at Phoenix, Ryan Kelly led the majority of the race, but unfortunately had an incident with teammate Maxwell Caldwell. Something that Maxwell Caldwell has had for a couple days now, a couple races. Just about every race, Caldwell has gotten into somebody. Last season's champion, current points leader. We saw incidents with him with Kyle Heath at Texas, where he got into some drivers. coming to the checkered flag, actually, Kyle Heath turned Maxwell Caldwell, and then last week 3 wide going into the corner, Ryan Kelly, and Maxwell Caldwell had to drop to the back on that one. And Maxwell told us that he's not going to take any prisoners anymore. If that's how the guys are going to race him, that's how he is going to race them. So very exciting to see how that will play out. We have about 3 minutes of qualifying left. Lap time starting to pop up on the board here. Some cars making their way around. We'll check in with those in a moment. Something else to talk about here. The shifting is something to watch. Let's see if we get a jump in here with Isaiah Sutherland. Let's see if we can get some eyes on him. There he is, the number 1 Youthful Nectar Chevy Camaro, last week's winner. Currently sits 3rd on the timing boards. This should be his 2nd lap out right now, I believe. So we'll see how this settles out for him when he crosses the line here. Rolling right now, looks like through turns 3 and 4 here at the Tricky Triangle. See a little wiggle there, and that's going to be something to watch as these drivers are exiting the corners. What is it going to look like for them as far as shifting goes? I talked to a couple drivers prior to today's event as they were getting prepared in the practice sessions. And they said, some of the guys I talked to were shifting in turns 1 and 3. Some of them were shifting in turn 2 and 3. Some of them were not shifting at all. So it's really going to be interesting to see how that will play out for us. We got some new drivers in the field tonight, including the number 86. There he is, the Dizzy Coin, Nick and Nicky's Pizza, Diz Energy Drink number 86, John Borst in the Toyota Camry. Nice to see some Toyotas out there, as well as this car, the number 21 Dizzy Zone Toyota Camry. That's Nick Cohen. These drivers from Dizzy Motorsports, they got their shop as Nick Cohen puts it to 2nd on the board. A very good lap time there for Nick Cohen. Kyle Heath currently with the early lead here in our qualifying session with about 1 minute to go. Looking for drivers Maxwell Caldwell. Looks like Maxwell Caldwell is out on the track. Let's see if we can. There he is. You see his framed Oreo number 94. Sets a 9th fastest time on his first lap. But those Dizzy boys, the 21 and 86, going to be some guys to keep an eye on tonight. We haven't seen them yet in the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series season thus far. But always quick in other races, other leagues, other cars. So see if they can get the NextGen figured out, and we'll see where they can place their vehicles in this event. We have 75 laps. It looks like Gary Silipinski just stepped up to the quick time of the day, bumping Heath back to 2nd, Cohen to 3rd, Ledford and Brown 4th and 5th as Maxwell Caldwell there. You saw him slap the wall coming out of the tunnel turn. This race tonight, drivers will have 3 sets of tires in the pits. 3 sets of tires in the pits, and we can get about 25 laps of fuel, which is going to be interesting to watch. 75 lap total race distance tonight. 75 laps total race distance. 25 laps on fuel. We're going to have pit stops at lap 25 and lap 50. Now that's going to leave an extra set of tires for these guys. So if we get a late race caution, it's going to be something you have to watch. Do fresh tires make a big difference throughout the race this evening? I'm not sure if they do. Pocono sometimes does wear out tires. We should see a drop in lap time, but we're going to have to keep an eye on that as it looks like our grid is starting to get lined up. And our pole sitter tonight is going to be the number 78 car, Gary Silipinski, with a 54.328 second lap. Starting in 2nd is Kyle Heath. Kyle Heath will be in the number 54, starting from 2nd position. Nick Cohen, one of the new drivers that we mentioned in the Dizzy Motorsports number 21, will be starting from 3rd. And alongside him, James Ledford in the number 48 car. Mark Brown will be starting in 5th in the number 73. Lots of good runs for Mark Brown thus far this season. Hopefully he can have another good run tonight. Strong qualifying run for Mark Brown. Ryan Kelly in the 13. Tough Luck Award so far this season. Currently starts in 6th position, followed by Dave Bush and Isaiah Sutherland, rounding out row 4. Starting in the 5th row, Jack Walls in the number 83, and our 2nd Dizzy Motorsports driver, John Borst in the number 86 Dizzy Coin Machine. Maxwell Caldwell, you saw his little incident there in qualifying where he slapped the wall coming out of turn 2. We'll start from 11th, a little bit farther back than we typically see Maxwell Caldwell start. Next to him, the Canadian in the field, John Held, and number 47, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Machine. Strong run so far for John Held. We saw him finish second at Auto Club Speedway earlier this season. A little bit further back in the pack now, row 7, we have Eric Shaws and Jim Brooks. Chris Jabou and Larry Blair starting in the 8th row. Todd Merkel, Joshua Yarborough, 17th and 18th. Michael Accord and Derek Walker starting in the 10th row. Michael Malum and Michael Howlett, the Cookie Monster Machine, the 979, starts in 22nd position. Farther back in the field, we have Derek Gilray, looks like the last driver to take time, and Mike Peters, or Mike Speed, the number 95. Awesome Pizza Shop, number 95, starts from 24th position. Rounding out our field, then we have Joseph Morales, Joseph Gurchavalvi in the number 30, Robert DuPont, Kawabi Brooks in the 28th position, Jason Adams, Joseph DeCiro, and Craig Bristol in the number 3 is the final driver in our 31-car lineup as our field starts to make their way around. Under caution, as we're getting ready for the start of our race, Gary Silipinski, Kyle Heath, Nick Cohen, James Ledford, Ryan Kelly, and Mark Brown are our top 6 starters. 75 laps on tap tonight for the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. Going to keep our eye on for driver shifting. We'll try to go on board and give an eye out for that. Our field here looks like we're packing up well. We'll see if... Yep, looks like our field is packed off well. We'll watch for our pace car to pull off. There it is. Pace car makes a hard left-hand turn off the pack. Ladies and gentlemen, fans of all ages, it's showtime on Green White Checker TV. Lap 2 of 75 here as we just started our second lap. Kyle Heath is off to the early lead in the Me Marie Designs number 54. And Nick Cohen jumped up one position, got the spot on Gary Silipinski on that start. The Dizzy Zone, Circle Jerks Podcast, Beer Hill Gang, Toyota Camry currently sits in second position. Gary Silipinski and the Cone Police. Furniture Row number 78 sits in third. Ryan Kelly in the Dynaco number 13 sits in fourth. And Dave Bush, strong start to the race so far for Dave Bush, as it looks like we have our first caution flag of the evening, has flown on the speedway. So if we could get a look at what that caution flag was a little bit further back in the pack here. Trying to get an eye on what exactly happened. We go back, unfortunately unable to get the camera shot here. Let's try something else here. Here's the 997. It's Joseph DeCiro. The STP Petty Enterprises number 997. Let's see if we can catch what happened here to bring out our caution flag. Don't know if our cameras picked that up. Looks like it was Joseph Gurjavali with the issue out there. Yeah, unable, it looks like, to get a shot on what exactly happened there. But let's set the field up here. See our current running order. You have Kyle Heath sits currently in the lead, Nick Cohen in second position, Gary Silipinski in third, Ryan Kelly, and Dave Bush rounding out our top five. I was just talking about Dave Bush. A strong run so far for Dave Bush. Very good start. We see him usually run a little bit further back on the pack, but could be a track that really fits Dave Bush's driving style. Now, one thing we want to watch here, see if anybody comes down pit road. I see some drivers motioning towards the inside of the track, but I don't see anybody pulling in. We got Isaiah Sutherland in 6, Maxwell Caldwell, Mark Brown. Looks like we have a couple guys coming into the pits, Jack Walls being one of them. Guys farther back, there's about from 15th position or so on back where these drivers either pitted. Jack Walls is in, Jim Brooks is in, Kawabe Brooks is in the Audi S-Line number 71. Joseph DeCiro, Joseph Morales, there he is in the sharp-looking Rockstar Energy Drink number 60. And these drivers, what they're doing is just topping off with fuel. Just topping off with gas, seeing, okay, if we get gas now, maybe we could extend our run a little bit. We know we can go about 25 laps of fuel from the drivers that we talked to in practice. So you're right on the edge there of making this race, especially if it stays green. So this is going to be what we want to watch here. What are these drivers going to do now? I didn't see any of them take tires. We only have one full green flag lap. So without taking tires, it's really just a fuel strategy that we're seeing right there. And I think a smart fuel strategy. Top off with gas. You're towards the back of the pack right now. Might as well take advantage of that. Hopefully these other guys run out of fuel. We saw that play a role in the real race with Kyle Busch playing that fuel strategy when the NASCAR Cup Series raced here in the summertime of last season. We know that's something that our drivers are going to play out. So Kyle Heath, let's talk about Kyle Heath. We saw him get a victory earlier this season at Texas Motor Speedway in controversial fashion. He spun the nose, his nose made contact with Maxwell Caldwell, the 94, our current points leader. Coming to the checkered flag, it looked like both drivers bobbling come out of turn 4 at Texas Motor Speedway. There's about 2 races ago, and it ended up Kyle Heath turning Maxwell Caldwell. And Maxwell, gracious in defeat with that one, but not necessarily happy about it, as one would imagine. We spoke to him last week about some more incidents he had at our last race at Phoenix Raceway. And he said, I'm not going to take that anymore. I'm tired of getting run into, and he's going to hold his ground. And we'll see how that comes to play here. As we got drivers, it's like Jack Walls, Kawabe Brooks, Mike Peters, Joseph Morales again coming into the pits. I think just topping off with fuel. They pitted on the previous lap. They're at the back anyways. So we might as well take advantage of that. I think that's a smart move. If I'm calling the race, that might be something that I say, you know what, let's give it a shot. So let's set the scene here as the drivers start to roll through the tunnel turn. We got Kyle Heath and Nick Cohen first and second. That's the first row. Second row, we got Gary Silipinski and Ryan Kelly. Dave Bush and Isaiah Sutherland will be outside of him in row 3. Maxwell Caldwell has moved up a couple positions from an 11th starting spot all the way up to 7th, alongside Mark Brown. And it's nice to see, let's give Mark Brown a shout out, alongside Maxwell Caldwell, so our cameras are not picking up. Looks like Mark Brown got some sponsorship on that car, running an all-black car the past couple weeks. Now he's got Jack Daniels on there. Happy to see Mark Brown pick up that Jack Daniels sponsorship. And lastly, we got Eric Shaws and John Borst rounding out our top 10. As our field rolls off of turn 3, getting ready to go for our first restart here. Early crash here at the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series, but the green flag is back out. on Green White Checker TV. Kyle Heath with the early jump, looking for drivers spreading out. Not too much field spread right now. Playing it a little bit safe. And I think that's a smart move. Looks like we got a little bit further back in the pack. Mark Brown slept up the track a little bit there. Opens up the door for Dave Bush on the inside. They started next to each other, still there. But look at that 94 car. Maxwell Caldwell in the Oreo machine. Trying to take advantage of this. Rolls out of the gas there. You saw that, kind of a smart play. You want to be careful with this exit. Mark Brown gets a little bit spooked on that. Not sure if there was contact or not, but that cost Mark Brown several positions. It looks like our caution is flown again. Caution is flown again. Incident a little bit further back on the pack. Let's see. We get eyes on what happened. Todd Merkel, Mike Peters involved. Here we are. We're looking for Mike Peters' car. Mike Speed, the Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers for Verify number 95. We see cars all over the track in front of them. Hard to see what's happening. And two cars get spun there. One in the middle of the pack. That looks like Todd Merkel, the yellow car. The 83 of Jack Walls spinning. The EMA electrical car, just nowhere to go for Mike Peters. So we could back this up once again. Take a look at another camera angle here. Let's go up to Todd Merkel's point of view. See what happened. Here's Todd Merkel, the Merkel Racing Engines driven. Number 2 Ford Mustang. And yeah, Jack Wall is just loose off the wall there. Unfortunately, nowhere to go, as I think a couple times Todd Merkel gets some air there and then hard into the wall. Let's back it up one more time, and I think this time we're going to go on board with Todd Merkel. Here he is. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's something we didn't see. James Ledford in the number 48 slides up into Jack Wall's walls, trying to gather it back up, and poor Todd Merkel thought he had it cleared there. Just nowhere to go, and hits what? Oh, when he gets clipped again. Car is all torn up for Todd Merkel. Not what he wanted to see, but the good news is these drivers do get a fast repair a little bit early here. We're only on lap 7 to use that fast repair. Not what you want to have happen. Drivers involved, let's take a look. Looks like we had Mike Peters involved, Todd Merkel. We had the 83 of Jack Walls involved. The 48 of James Ledford is who made contact with Jack Walls to cause the incident. Larry Blair in the 70 was involved. Jim Brooks, Derek Walker also picking up some damage there. So lots of damage for lots of cars early on in tonight's action. Not really what these guys want to see, unfortunately. But, you know, that's sometimes how it goes out here, as we see a lot of drivers in the pit lane. Now we're getting some swaps. Looks like the top 15 have stayed out, but these guys now, we see a lot of cars with damage in there, getting some fast repairs. I don't see anybody taking tires yet in all of this as we watch our cars exit our pit lane here at Pocono Raceway. See Jim Brooks. Jim Brooks is getting some tires. So may have skidded those things, may have needed some fresh rubber. We know these NextGen tires, very thin walls, so could have done some damage to those trying to avoid the accidents. A couple of other drivers sitting on pit lane trying to fix, and this is something at Pocono that is unique to some tracks. It's a big 2.5-mile speedway. You know, there's a lot of time for these guys to make repairs to their cars. There's no need to really rush it, no need to use a quick repair. If you have 40 seconds of repairs, you should be able to make those and be back on track as normal. Let's see if we get the lights out on the pace car this time by. Currently under our second yellow flag of the evening. Second yellow flag of the evening here with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. And yes, the lights on the pace car have gone out. Field is starting to double up as we got some more guys diving into the pits. Again, fuel strategy at play here. Could be a play on using those quick repairs, getting cars fixed. We see Michael Mallam there, Koabi Brooks, Joseph Morales, Jim Brooks also involved, and Jack Wall still in our pits. But while we watch our drivers up front here, a lot of these drivers familiar with each other. One that's not though, Nick Cohen, we see him right up there in the field with everybody else. These guys, Kyle Heath, Gary Silipinski, Isaiah Sutherland, all very familiar with each other. Ryan Kelly and Maxwell Caldwell has moved up to 7th spot. Dave Bush. So Nick Cohen, kind of the new kid on the block here, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Nick has a very good reputation so far on iRacing. So these guys may have heard of his name before, seen him race before in a couple different leagues. A couple other series other than the Area 51 NextGen Cup series that we're watching tonight. But it's going to be interesting to see how these guys handle that newbie out there on the racetrack. So let's set our scene here as we roll towards turn 3. We got Kyle Heath and Nick Cohen in the first row, Gary Silipinski and Ryan Kelly, Dave Bush, Isaiah Sutherland, Maxwell Caldwell, and John Borst in the 86. Good run so far for John Borst. Mark Brown, and the new look tonight, number 47, Fisherville Garage, number 47, of John Held rounds out their top 10. Field now. A pace truck getting ready to pull off. The rest of the field got to do some catching up there. A little bit further back, hanging back there. A little bit further back, but green flag is back out with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. Hopefully we get some green flag action here. Field staying about 2x2 as you race off into turn 1. See, Nick Cohen gets the early edge as Kyle Heath drives away. Gary Silipinski, and here's Ryan Kelly, a big run out of the corner, not able to do it. So there he goes. Now he's in the draft of the 78 Cone Police of Gary Silipinski. Will he take it? No, he's going to play it safe right now. Play a smart move right now to do that as we look back at Dave Bush trying to close up the gap as we watch from Ryan Kelly's machine. We see side by side John Borst and Maxwell Caldwell as we race into turn 3. Caldwell a little loose down on the apron. Gonna have to back out of it. And that's gonna open the door for John Held on the inside. John Held with a major run on the inside, but John Borst able to drive it away. The Dizzy Coin, DZ Colon, number 86. Good exit there. Maxwell Caldwell, though, unfortunately for him, not a good exit. Still side by side now as he slides way up the track. That's the 47 that John Held on side of him. A little bit further up here, we saw Nick Cohen lose a position to Gary Silipinski. A little slip up for Nick Cohen as Ryan Kelly packs it in behind him. Got some passes back here in the pack too. We got Chris Jabou going on the inside, number 83, beautiful number looking 83, EMA Electrical, number 83. Number 77, Josh Yarborough here. Beautiful purple car. Side by side just in front of them, James Ledford in this 48. Michael Accord slips on by the Natural Ice, number 17. All right, keep an eye on all of our action here. Good battle right here between these three drivers. We could jump on board with Isaiah Sutherland, watches the action in front of him. Ryan Kelly and Dave Bush to listen to Isaiah Sutherland here, see if he's using any shifting. Shifting on Isaiah Sutherland right now. We got the battle here as we want to look at our battle right here. We got Dave Bush and Ryan Kelly going at it. Dave Bush in the Cortiva Agriscience number 54 on the inside. Ryan Kelly in the Dynaco number 13. And Isaiah Sutherland, what we were just watching before, trying to make something happen. Isaiah Sutherland, big run there. Ryan Kelly, I think, just gave up the spot as here comes Maxwell Caldwell, still in that 7th position, but very active in what he's doing. You see he's gotten around John Held, gotten around John Borst now after that little bobble in turn 3 earlier on. Good battle here. Robert DuPont, Josh Arbo just caught at the corner of our eye. Larry Blair is right in there well in the Valvoline number 70. See him race down the Long Pond straightaway towards turn 2 here. At Pocono, and very tough to go side by side in turn 2, particularly the exit of turn 2. It gets very tight there, and that's a challenge. You saw the 77 of Josh Sharper kind of conceded the spot to Larry Blair. Once you get on the inside there, you really got to be careful if you're on the outside. Cool looking Flow Racing paint scheme on the number 46 that appears to be, that's the 46 of Derek Gilray, a throwback to Derek Cope's Daytona 500 championship winning number 10 car. Very sharp looking machine there at number 46. Back up front though, let's take a look. Here is a close battle with Gary Silipinski right behind Kyle Heath. Let's see if we get an onboard shot. What does it look like from Gary Silipinski's machine? There he is. The Furniture Row Cone Police, number 78. You hear her pedaling the gas quite a bit. Tough to find traction out there tonight. We head down on a long straightaway here at Pocono Raceway. On the listen here, is he shifting? Really playing with the throttle through turns 1 and 2. One driver, look at this. We saw him really back out of it there. Nick Cohen in the Dizzy Zone. Circle Jerks Podcast, TRD. Beer Hill Gang, number 21 now. Rolls it up in the 2nd position in that Toyota Camry. See if Gary Silipinski gets a run here down the front straightaway. Looks like Nick Cohen's growing his lead, at least to this point, halfway down the straightaway. Trying to close up shop on the number 54, Me Marie Designs 54, Kyle Heath. 3 cars under a blanket, about as close as you're going to see him here at Pocono Raceway with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. 17 laps into 75. Early on in this run, Nick Cohen dropped way back from these guys by about 1.5 seconds, and he has closed up the gap. I'm just wondering, is this an aero thing here with Gary Silipinski, that he's up there behind the 54 of Kyle Heath? How much does aerodynamics play a role here? We know it's important in these Next Gen Cup cars, but is it important enough that it messes you up as you are rolling through these corners? Looks like, let's check our lap times here. Let's see our lap times as the field rolls on by. Boy, Nick Cohen about 1/10 faster, so this is where we're going to keep our eyes on right now. You see him really close up the gap there in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And this is now something that Nick Cohen needs to think about. Where are you going to make this move? Oh, we know he's faster than Kyle Heath by about 1/10 of a second faster. But how do you set this up? You need to change. You can't keep running the same line that you're running. You see Kyle Heath slips up the track there. That's going to open the door. If Nick Cohen can get a good run here, down the front stretch. Long front stretch here at Pocono Raceway. Gary Silipinski looks like he's going to tuck up behind the dizzy zone. Number 21. Local boy from Nazareth, Pennsylvania, Nick Cohen, trying to steal the lead from the Mean Marine Designs Chevy Camaro as Kyle Heath way up the track. That's going to open the door for Gary Silipinski. Unless Kyle Heath knows something we don't. That's not the line you run the run, but he may get a big run down the backstretch. Tucks it up behind the number 21 Dizzy Zone machine. Will he pull out to make a pass? He's going to concede that position, I think. Right now, Nick Cohen with the fastest car on the track. Worked him over for a couple laps there. That was textbook. How do you work somebody over at Pocono Raceway? And I think the handling on the Mean Marine Designs 54 of Kyle Heath is starting to go away. You see him very high entry on the corner. It's going to be interesting to see, is that going to help? I'm not sure, as now we see him tuck up close again here to the back of Nick Cohen. Doesn't want to pull out and make that pass right now. And this is something you could do. If you're a little bit slower on the track, you could use that drafting help to sort of stay with the guys in front of you, especially at the big, long straightaways like we have here at Pocono. It's something that these guys can really use. If you get out in front, you try to make a pass and get off your rhythm, that might not be possible anymore. But now Nick Cohen, about 0.3 of a second lead. He's going to try to open that up again. You see that gap there as it flashes on by. There it is. Boy, all the way back to John Held in 8th spot. These drivers very close. John Held about 3 seconds off our lead. Fastest car on the track right now, though, looks to be Dave Bush in 4th position, the number 53 car. Dave Bush, solid run so far. 20 laps in, a 75, about 1/3 race distance complete here at Pocono Raceway with green, white checkered TV and the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series. Let's talk about Dave Bush. Corteva Agriculture Science, Honda Generators, number 53. Dave Bush's Chevy Camaro, fastest car on the track last time by. And currently in 4th position. We saw Dave Bush with some good runs so far this year. Tonight, capitalizing on those opportunities. Let's check the lap times this time by as Silipinski and Heath get close together. That time by, Kyle Heath starting to reel back in the 21 Dizzy Zone machine of Nick Cohen, as Maxwell Caldwell has just moved to 5th position, about 2 seconds off this current lead pack. So it has some work to do to catch back up there. But Maxwell Caldwell, we know he's a current points leader, former series champion. If anybody can do it, he can do it. Now we're starting to get close here. We know we had those caution flags early on that would have extended this fuel window. So I think about 8 laps or so, 5 to 8 laps, we're going to start seeing guys come and make some green flag pit stops. Here at the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series, these drivers run a 70% fuel level. So with that 70% fuel level, that's going to increase the caution, the pit stops that are required, as Kyle Heath slips way up the track again. I don't know if that, we saw him use that before and it benefited him, but let's see if he gets a good run here. Nick Cohen really opened up the gap there. Kyle Heath has been consistently just a hair quicker than Nick Cohen. Right now, Dave Bush again, fastest car on the track, just slightly over Kyle Heath as he's slowly reeling in these guys. But that's something we want to keep an eye on, is that fuel strategy. When exactly will you pit? We know we can go about 25 laps on fuel, I would think, this first run. These guys want to extend that as much as possible. If you could get to lap 30, that means there's no need to conserve anymore. You can go as hard as you want. As Ryan Kelly, our first taker of the pit lane. Here's Ryan Kelly, the Dynaco. We see some damage on the outside of him. Scraped the wall, makes it to pit lane. So let's watch now for our leaders. There is Kyle Heath again way up the track. I don't think that's working out for him. Nick Cohen about a 10th faster last lap, just inside the 54-second bracket. Kyle Heath just on the outside of it. So, but where it is helping him is the runs down the straightaway. Don't know if we could quite catch that on camera, but the runs that Kyle Heath is getting down the straightaway. Let's see if we can watch it here. We see that very high entry as opposed to Nick Cohen really drives in. Heath is about a lane up of where Nick Cohen is, trying to get back in the throttle early. There we hear him shift there. You just heard it on Green White Checker TV. That shift as we got some more drivers coming in pit lane. John Held is in the pits. Let's watch Nick Cohen. Really dives it in. Now Kyle Heath drives it in very low, right along the yellow line. See if he's shifting here. Let's see if we can listen. There it is again. Shifts in the 5th gear right there. Remember, 5 gears with these NextGen Cup Series cars. Down to the yellow line in the tunnel turn. Not shifting there, but let's see if he shifts. Let's listen. Downshift right there. Looks like Nick Cohen. I can watch his flames. He's shifting too. And upshift. Very cool to watch these guys working. And if we'll stay on board one more lap here, let's look for the flames out of the exhaust pipe on Nick Cohen's car. That'll tell us that he's shifting. Very high entry for Kyle Heath. Trying to make that work, sort of doesn't diamond the corner, but stays in that 3rd lane. And this is where that really helps. Watch the run he gets down the backstretch here. He's gaining time. He shifts when he does that. And he closes his gap right back up. Now, I don't know if that's faster than running it down to the yellow line, as he had to get out of the gas there, exiting the corner. But he is able to reel that time back in. So it might be something to watch later on in the race. Maybe experimenting for a late race run. I think Nick Cohen kind of playing with the shifting as well. And right behind them, Gary Silipinski. Nick Cohen slightly quicker there. Quickest car on the track is the 21 car as he comes up on some lap traffic. Who is that? It looks like that is the 83 of Jack Walls. The 83 of Jack Walls just in front of our leader. Jack Walls several laps down by my scoring pylon. Looks like he backed off there, letting Nick by. Very courteous, I should say. I'm sure Jack Walls is a gorgeous man, but that was a courteous move for him to do that, staying out of the way of both leaders there, and probably going to open the door. Yes, he does, for Gary Silipinski and Dave Bush as well. Now, we want to watch when these guys pit. We're on lap 27 to 75. I said about lap 30 we may see them come into the pits. Let's see if anybody tries to come in a little bit sooner than that. Hit about 6 laps of caution earlier on in the race. So we're getting right in that window now on lap 28 of pitting. And you see Nick Cohen, I think Nick Cohen, good on these long, older tires, these longer runs. About 0.3 of a second quicker there than Kyle Heath. And Gary Silipinski is still sitting in that 3rd position. Watching our drivers that pitted, though, I want to take a look back at Ryan Kelly. Now, Ryan Kelly, he pitted several laps ago, but he is about 0.2 of a second faster than our leaders on that last lap. I'll watch him this time by, and we'll check. So you get that lap time. So last lap by, Nick Cohen had a 55.22. Ryan Kelly had a 55.32. But John Held, we saw him about 3 seconds off the pace in the 57 Fisherville Garage, number 47. Boy, John Held had a 54.8 that last lap. That's a very quick lap time. That's about 0.6 faster than our leaders. And Nick Cohen opens up to about a second gap. We take a look as Gary Silipinski gets on the inside. Now this could be important too if those guys pit on the same lap. That could really hold Silipinski up if he can't get by the Me Marie Designs number 54. I think these guys playing that long fuel strategy game. I'm keeping an eye on as they roll through the tunnel turn down towards turn 3. You got to have in the back of your mind, where's John Held in all of this? How will John Held, if he's gaining about 0.6 of a second a lap, a couple laps, and there he is. There's our leader, Nick Cohen coming in, Gary Silipinski, Kyle Heath coming in. Silipinski smokes, locks up the tires. I don't know if he got it stopped in time. That's going to be something to watch. Will Gary Silipinski, I think Nick Cohen, got stopped in time. Kyle Heath got stopped in time. Gary Silipinski hot on the brakes there. Hopefully he does not catch a penalty. We're lap 30 here. And what a broadcaster the hot shoe is. Called it lap 30. We're coming to the pits. Noah Cohen just misses a stop. Luckily he has a little bit of a lead. Kyle Heath backed up as well. This will be a 4-tire exchange for these guys. 4 tires. Fill it with fuel. We watch our pit exit here. And I'm going to keep an eye on. I'm actually going to back it up. Here comes John Held. You see him come around turns 3 and 4. Let's watch John Held head down the front stretch. Cohen, Heath, Silipinski rolling out of the pits. But here comes John Held in the number 47. How will this shake out? We're watching, looking as he closes up the gap to our leader, still getting up to speed. Looks like that did help, and look at Ryan Kelly. Really closed up the gap there on Nick Cohen. As they roll to the inside, 73 Jack Daniels and Mark Brown staying clear and out of the way. Now this is where it gets interesting. Ryan Kelly pitted about 8 laps earlier than these guys. Let's say 5 laps, I think is a better accurate count. And Dave Bush, we saw, it looks like Dave Bush gained some spots. So let's wait for this to shake out. We got still some drivers. The drivers that stayed out earlier in the race. Chris Jabou, Michael Accord, Kwabi Brooks, Jim Brooks, Michael Howlett, Jason Adams, Joseph Morales. I believe all of those drivers pitted earlier for fuel when we had some of those early cautions. So they should be able to go about lap 35, 38 or so on this set of tires, on this tank of gas. But we need to see how these lap times shake out. Now with Ryan Kelly pitting earlier, he was setting, and John Held the same way, setting very fast lap times compared to our leader. So right now, this is our current battle for the lead. This Nick Cohen in the number 21. Ryan Kelly just behind him. Dave Bush in third. Good pit stop for Dave Bush and crew. The Cortiva Agriscience as Gary Silipinski gets on the inside of Dave Bush. So I'll keep an eye on our lap times here. So right now we got Nick Cohen. Here he is. We're taking a look at the Dizzy Zone Toyota Camry. Nick Cohen, fastest car on the track. Gary Silipinski about a 10 faster than Nick Cohen on that lap. But Nick Cohen, 54.77 to Chris Jabou, our current leader, with a 55.49. So about 0.8 of a second faster. But, and this is the big but, if I look at our interval, I'm going to try to get a look at our interval. Nick Cohen. So here's Chris Jabou in the 83. Nick Cohen's 8 seconds back from this group. 8 seconds back. Now these guys, this is all a race for the same position right now. Nick Cohen on the same pace, on the same lap as these guys. Let's back up. Actually, a little bit further back. I was wrong on that. Let me check out our time. About 30 seconds back or so is Nick Cohen. I read my timing and scoring screen incorrectly. And we see Nick Cohen really opening up the gap to Ryan Kelly, Gary Silipinski, and crew. Now, so let's debrief with our pit strategy here as I'm talking about it. Top 6 cars still need to pit. Pitted early for fuel. Chris Jabou, Michael Accord, Kwabi Brooks, Jim Brooks, Jason Adams, Joseph Morales. That's our top 6. They have pitted earlier in the race. They all have took a little bit of fuel there, so we're waiting for them to pit, and that's going to cycle our lead then back to Nick Cohen. Now, Nick Cohen lost about a second or two in the pit lane, overshot his pits. So that's going to be something to watch with these guys. But you see him opening up the lead there on Gary Silipinski and Ryan Kelly. That's Ryan Kelly in the 13. As I'm talking about our pit strategy, big slip up there off the Ryan Kelly number 13 Dynaco machine, trying to push it for everything he has there, coming off of turn 3. And let me say why Ryan Kelly is doing that. He's on about 5 lap older tires than Nick Cohen, the Gary Silipinski, Dave Bush, and Kyle Heath. So that's going to shake out. That's going to be our top 5 when we go back under our normal conditions. We're in the top 5 now. Chris Jabou is coming in, so the top 4 cars pit. So Nick Cohen, Gary Silipinski, Dave Bush, Kyle Heath, and Ryan Kelly will be our top 5. Now we saw Gary Silipinski coming hot, did not pick up a penalty on that pit stop. So very good for him, very lucky for him, and was able to get, so I think he may have lost some time getting in there, trying to get in that hot, really had to slow down in that first segment. We saw Kyle Heath also overshoot his pits, and that cost him that spot to Gary Silipinski. That cost him the spot to Gary Silipinski, so that was where this happened. And Dave Bush had a very good pit stop, was able to cycle up just a little bit closer to these guys. Hopefully he can nail one more of those. So about a second faster now is Nick Cohen. Michael Accord, we see him coming up off of turn 4 in the natural light car. Top 5, Kawabe Brooks in the Audi S-Line number 71 coming to pit. And that's one more car now. Michael Accord, last one that needs to pit. As Nick Cohen, the Disney Zone Circle Jerks podcast number 21, I should say. Let's watch across the line here. Let's get an eye on our lap times. Nick Cohen, Gary Silipinski, and Kyle Heath, all very even on lap times. Kyle Heath actually slightly faster than everybody, as these guys are rolling past the number 95 of Mike Peters. We saw some tough luck for the Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers for Parify number 95. So Kyle Heath, currently fastest car on the track. Our battle for the lead here, about 25 seconds off of Michael Accord, who has now come to the pit lane. So Michael Accord leading a couple laps there, coming to the pits. And as I said, about 25 laps of fuel in these cars. So we're on lap 36. Let's call it lap 35 for math's sake, and I'll add some. So let's talk about that. So if we're pitting on lap 35, 25 laps from that will be lap 60. So the cars that are pitting now, unless they can really save fuel, which is almost impossible to do that well here at Pocono with these long straightaways, will have to pit again. So everybody in the field right now, regardless if you're Nick Cohen out in front, if you're Joseph DeCiro back in 22nd, or Michael Peters in 23rd, you will need to pit again. Which means that Nick Cohen here, about a second lead on Gary Silipinski. You saw him had to pass that number 20 car, Derek Walker. So slowed him down a little bit that lap, but they seem to be trading lap times back and forth. Nick Cohen, Gary Silipinski, and there's Derek Walker in the 20. Twitch.tv/Jalopy, G-U-H Loppy. We'll go ahead and tune to his Twitch channel. Nice to see Derek Walker with us again. And let's see how the lap times switch out here. We see now, as we go through lap traffic, lap time's really going to go back and forth here as we watch Gary Silipinski's car. And that time, Cohen and Silipinski very even. Kyle Heath actually a little bit faster. So let's do a field rundown as we're on lap 38. We're at the halfway point here with the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series on Green White Checker TV. Let's take a look to see. There's Nick Cohen, our current leader, in the number 21, the Disney Zone Circle Jerks podcast, Beer Hill Gang, TRD Racing, Toyota Camry. Currently sits in first. Right behind him, about 1.2 seconds back, is Gary Silipinski, the Cone Police. Furniture Row Ford Mustang. Third place, Kyle Heath, the Mima Designs. Number 54 sits in third. Dave Bush, strong run, losing some time though in the Cortiva. Agri Science, number 54, sits in fourth. Love the picture there for Dave Bush. And Maxwell Caldwell in the number 94 sits in fifth position, slowly gaining spots for Maxwell Caldwell. Sitting several seconds back off our current leader, though. We got Ryan Kelly now. He's on older tires, sits in sixth position. And John Held, early pitter as well in the Fisherville Garage, number 54, sits in seventh. Eric Shaw, strong run tonight in the Hot Wheels Mattel Ford Mustang, sits in eighth. Isaiah Sutherland, last week's winner, the Youthful Nectar, number 1. The Me Marie Design sponsored Chevy Camaro sits in 9th, and our top 10, John Borst in the Nick and Nick's Ice Cream Dizzy Energy Drink, Dizzy Coin number 86. That's John Borst. Chris Jaboo in the number 83. Love the number there on Chris Jaboo. Giblets, the EMA Electrical Ford Mustang sits in 11th. Michael Accord in the Natural Light number 17. Last car to pit sits in 12th position. Freshest tires, so we'll keep an eye on Michael Accord, see what he can do. Larry Blair sits in 13th position in the Valvoline number 70. Kawabe Brooks in the Audi S-Line number 71. James Ledford in the number 48 sits in 15th position. And Jim Brooks in the Area 51 NextGen Cup Series Ford Mustang currently sits in 16th. Michael Howlett in 17th in the Cookie Monster 979. 18th, we have Jason Adams in the Jeff Gordon DuPont number 24 Nicorette Freshman BFR Racing number 24 Chevy Camaro. That's Jason Adams. Josh Yarborough in the Playboy Toyota Camry sits 19th, and Joseph Morales rounds out our top 20 in the Rockstar Energy Drink number 60. Beautiful looking paint scheme. Derek Gilray in the Derek Cope Throwback Flow Racing number 46 is in 21st, and Joseph DeCiro in the 997 STP Petty Enterprises number 97 sits 22nd. Mark Brown picking up a new sponsorship, the Mane and Tail Jack Daniels number 73 sits 23rd. Todd Merkel, early incident for Todd Merkel, the Merkel Racing Engines Ford Mustang number 2 sits 24th. Michael Peters in the number 95, and Michael Malm in the number 8. Awesome looking old school Stacy Compton Cartoon Network Chevy Camaro paint scheme as he slaps the wall there. Not what you want to see out of Michael Malm in the number 8 car. Cartoon Network, looks like some damage there on the right front, but car is still running. Derek Walker, the twitch.tv/Jalopy, Juhlopy, Jalopy. Derek Walker sits in the 27th position. Jack Walls in the number 83. Jack Walls Racing number 83. Toyota Camry sits 28th. Robert DuPont, Joseph Giersavallo, and lastly Craig Bristol are no longer on the speedway with us. So let's take a look here, a little battle farther back in the pack. So we got Larry Blair and Kawabe Brooks, 70 and 71, battling out. We should be about 10 to 15 laps away from our second round of pit stops. Nick Cohen holding a pretty consistent lead over Gary Silipinski, hanging right around about a second. Drivers trading lap times back and forth. Nice to see you guys in the chat with us tonight. Nathan Friesma, thank you for tuning in. Thanks. Kyle Heath has something for it. The Me Marie Designs, number 54. Kyle Heath playing the long game, he says. And Isaiah Sutherland as well, sitting back there in 9th position. Watching the lap times, Isaiah Sutherland trying to make up some time on John Hell just in front of him. So Nick Cohen, maybe not a very good lap there for Nick Cohen. Lost some time to Gary Silipinski. There's Silipinski sitting behind him. We'll take a look at lap times this time by, though. See how they shake out. As Kyle Heath still running that high line that we see so unique to him. Let's see what Nick Cohen does here. I think he lost some time there to Gary Silipinski as he crossed the line. And yeah, about 0.2 of a second faster is Silipinski. So starting to reel in Nick Cohen. Kyle Heath right there with him. Going to try to follow him up through. Let's see if we can go back on board with Kyle Heath. See if he's shifting again. Then we'll take a look at the drivers in front as well. So listen here through the tunnel turn. We're not shifting through the tunnel turn for Kyle Heath. And the Me Marie Designs number 54. There he is, shifting, coming out of turn 3. Let's jump back up with Gary Silipinski now on board. Love to have these onboard shots. Gary Silipinski sitting in second position. Nick Cohen just in front of him. Downshift there in turns 1 and 2. Nick Cohen's coming on the back of a lap car. May lose some time here having to go on the inside through the tunnel turn. Lap car gives him his room and need, stays way out of the way, and that's going to be tough for Silipinski on exit. Silipinski really had a compromised exit there on the inside of the 46 of Derek Gilray. So listening, is he shifting at turn 3 here? He is a little bit later with the upshift than Kyle Heath is Gary Silipinski. Downshifting in 1 and 2. I think the only turn he's not shifting in right now is the tunnel turn. Let's go back up front here with Nick Cohen. Listen for him if he's shifting in the Dizzy Zone machine. Got the Dizzy Merch.com on board here. We'll listen in. Over the tunnel, a little bumpy there, but keeps her nice and straight. Right up against the wall as we head down the short chute. Turn 3, listen for a shift. Sound like a downshift there. Let's listen for when the upshifts. Pedaling a lot. Don't think he's shifting in turn 3 there down the front stretch. Did not hear an upshift. Even lap times between him and Silipinski that last lap. A little bit further back now, Maxwell Caldwell has now moved up in the 4th position. Got around Dave Bush there. Dave Bush fast at the beginning of the race, now starting to fall off slightly, but still strong top 5 run. He's got about a 3-second lead if we look at Dave Bush just behind over Ryan Kelly for the 5th position. But this battle right here, Caldwell and Bush, about 3 seconds off our top 3. Back to Kyle Heath. And our leaders now, Silipinski and Cohen, really have opened up the gap to Heath. Heath may have burned up his tires in the Mean Marie Designs number 54. Dead even lap times for our leaders that time. I think the advantage that Silipinski had may have come to an end. As the caution has flown, ladies and gentlemen, the caution is out. Michael Accord appears to have crashed on the speedway. Let's see if we can get a camera over there, see what happened. Here he is in 17, Natural Light, Spectrum, Cable, Tyson's Chicken, Smith's, Barstool Sports number 17. Hits the apron, tries to correct, tries to gather it back up. And just nowhere to go in front of Larry Blair and Coabi Brooks. Spins it out, Michael Accord, tough break, but now things are going to get interesting. And the reason I say that is because we are on lap 48. Coming around, it looks like, yes, this lap we will get our pace truck. We are Nick Cohen catching up to the pace car now. And let's all take a deep breath here. We're going to have, these guys are going to pit on lap 50. Lap 49 coming to lap 50, and we can get 25 laps on the tank of fuel. So this, as it happens, just right in the window of fuel. So we saw them run a little bit longer. We saw them run to about lap 30 under green flag conditions. Now that was with 6 caution flags. So we had 6 caution laps, and they were able to run to lap 30 for the first run of the race. So the question is, can you go that full 25 laps? I think you can based on those numbers. These guys will be running out of fuel coming to the checkered flag. It should get pretty close, but I think if they pit now and fill up a good pit stop, should put these guys set up, and then they'll still have a set of tires in the pits. 3 sets of tires here with Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series, and a quick repair. Current leader Nick Cohen. Second place, Gary Silipinski, Kyle Heath in 3rd. Maxwell Caldwell, the break he needed to close up that gap, sits in 4th. And Dave Bush in 5th position. Ryan Kelly, we might look for him to make some repairs on that car. Eric Shaw is in 7th, John Held in 8th, Isaiah Sutherland in 9th, and Chris Chabot in 10th as our leaders and our field are coming to pit. Should be the last pit stops of the day that will be required. Now, guys may come in for tires later on, but I believe if we, with 26 laps, going to be 25 laps to go when we cross the line. If we fill up now, we should be good to go as far as fuel goes. It may be tight, but they should be good. We see them all charge into their pits. Good stop for our leaders this time. See the right side's going up. Let's see who is going to get our battle. It's like the Joseph Morales may have taken fuel, missed his pit stop. And Nick Cohen just beats Maxwell Caldwell out of the pits. Other guys, though, Dave Bush jumped up a spot. Kyle Heath lost some time. Gary Slapinski, big loser on that pit strategy. Some good strategy talk there in our Discord, in our YouTube channel. Got Nate Friesman chiming in about the pit strategy. Thanks for watching with us tonight, Nate. And let's see here if we could grab a quick word with Nick Cohen, current leader, see what he has to think about this race strategy. Nick Cohen, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Nick.
Well, Nick, you're a newcomer to the series tonight with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. Strong run for you tonight. Our question for you is, how does this pit stop now, with about 26 laps to go, play into the pit strategy? Will you have enough of fuel to make it to the end?
Well, it's probably a better question for our crew chief, Shane Ewing, up on the box today. I know we're probably going to be pretty close, but you know, it's going to make for an interesting end here. That green flag run was going to be interesting as well, because the 78 and the 54, we were running very close lap time, so it was going to be interesting, but I'm sure it's going to be even more interesting now for you guys.
It was very exciting to watch the strategy play out there, Nick, and good run for you tonight on your debut with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. So in these last 25 laps, I wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we talk to you in a little bit.
Yeah, hope to see you in victory lane.
That was Nick Cohen that we just spoke to. Happy to talk to Nick tonight. Always one to share a word with us whenever we want to chime in with him in other series that we broadcast. So happy to have Nick Cohen along for the ride tonight, the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. Strong run tonight, but like he said, a lot of these drivers keeping him honest. He's not out there dominating by any means. But let's a little bit of a shake-up with the pit strategy here. So let's take a look. We got Maxwell Caldwell has moved up into the 2nd position. And Caldwell a little bit off tonight, a little bit further back in the pack. Let's see what he can do here now that he's up front. I think he may be able to put his nose in here for victory with Nick Cohen. Dave Bush has moved up to 3rd position. A good stop for the Cortiva Agriscience, number 53 team. Kyle Heath is now sitting in 4th position, lost a spot from 3rd. Isaiah Sutherland and Eric Shaw. Shaw's 5th, Sutherland 6th right now. Gary Silapinski and Michael Accord, who brought out that caution flag, sits 8th. John Held and John Borst rounding out our 5th row. As the field making their way around turns 3 and 4. We'll watch from our starter stand. 24 laps to go on this restart. It's like Nick Cohen gets a good jump. Wide action a little bit further back on the pack. Here we watch from our turn 1 cam. Willie Pana. Now they're starting to get 3 and 4 wide back there in the pack, but Nick Cohen, early jump on the start there. One driver way up the track. That looks like Michael Cohen. Nick Cohen, good lap there. Opened up the gap to Maxwell Caldwell. Caldwell might be just a little bit off tonight from where we normally see him. Tough track here. Nick Cohen's in the lead. Caldwell in second, and Kyle Heath with a good restart there. Puts it up in the third position where he's been running the majority of the evening. I think he has a little bit faster car than Caldwell. Another driver to watch, we saw him up front. Lost some spots on that pit cycle. Gary Silipinski. We see him on the outside here at Dave Bush, trying to make it work on the high line there through the tunnel turn. Very tricky to do. And that's why right there you saw that Lucy got as he exited that corner as Shaws and Bush closed back up the gap. McCord sticking his nose in there as well. Two by two out of turn 3 at Pocono. And everybody's trying to make something happen here late in the going. Looking at our lap times, Nick Cohen, our leader, fastest on the track that last lap with a 54.54. Good battle here. Dave Bush into the wall. Dave Bush, hard contact into the outside wall, but keeps it going straight. No caution. But you saw it here live. Dave Bush with a big slap of the wall there. Yeah, they got in maybe a little bit too hot. Slid up the track and pounded the wall. As we got a good battle here. John Borst on the outside of John Hell. Just behind them, Ryan Kelly squirrely. And caution is out. Caution, yellow flag is on the speedway. Yellow flag is out. Lots of action there. Dave Bush may have been the culprit in that caution. We saw him hit the fence a little bit earlier. Here he is. Let's see if this is the reason. The 20 car. What happened there? Well, that was an interesting incident. You got to back this up again. James Ledford. Let's see if I could try to go on board here. See, lots of action. Let's see if we could go on board with one of these drivers and get a good look at what happened. I think Joseph Morales may be a good one to watch. Let's back it up here. We see this is a little bit later. That looks like the 20 car got in there hot and just nowhere to go. Kind of an interesting incident there. You got to back it up one more time. A little bit further back in the pack here. Just everybody kind of ran out of real estate there from the looks of it. Very interesting incident. Driver is getting in very hot into the tunnel turn. That's not how you want that entry to be. But let's re-rack him here. Take a look at where we're at. Nick Cohen currently sits out in front. We're going to take a moment here with 20 laps to go just to give a word for our sponsors. We'll be right back here on Green White Checker TV with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. And we are back here on Green White Checker TV with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. We have 19 laps to go. We'll get the restart here. 18 laps to go. Let's look at our field rundown right now. We have Nick Cohen in the dizzy zone. Number 21 sits as our current leader. Maxwell Caldwell in the Oreos. Number 94 sits in second position. Isaiah Sutherland and Kyle Heath sit in our second row. Heath, the Me Marie Designs, number 54, up front all night, running in that second and third position. Our pole sitter of the evening. And Isaiah Sutherland, the Youthful Nectar, Me Marie Designs, number 1. Lots of shout-outs in our YouTube chat for Isaiah Sutherland tonight. Lots of fans for Sutherland. So happy to see the Youthful Nectar car up there. Sid Lipinski with that tough pit stop currently sitting in 5th position. And Eric Shaw's, let's give a shout out for Eric Shaw's +7 positions tonight, up to the 6th spot in the Hot Wheels Mattel Ford Mustang, the number 72 car. Strong run for Shaw's tonight. John Held and John Boers, the John row, currently in 4th row here, the Can-Am Fisherville Garage number 47, along Nick and Nick's Ice Cream Dizzy Energy Drink, Dizzy Coin, DZ Cola 86 of John Borst. And finally, to round out our top 10, Ryan Kelly and Larry Blair round out our top 10. So, who's it going to be, folks? What do we got? Nick Cohen, Maxwell Caldwell, Kyle Heath, Isaiah Sutherland, Gary Silipinski, and Eric Shaw is our top 6 as we get ready to restart. With 18 laps to go, Nick Cohen off to a big jump early on. Watch our field not as spread out this time as we were last time. I think the drivers saw what happened when they get spread out like that. Maxwell Caldwell slides up the track. Kyle Heath gets the advantage on that, and there is Isaiah Sutherland, the Youthful Nectar, Me Marie Designs number 1, trying to make an inside move on Caldwell, but he will not get it done through the tunnel turn. Silipinski now with a little bit of a run. Now this is going to be something to watch. Kyle Heath, one of the fastest cars out there tonight. Nick Cohen, this is another fast car now, running 1st and 2nd. Silipinski gets an inside move as John Borst has slapped the wall. John Borst, the Dizzy Coin, DZ Cola 86, slapped the wall there. A little bit of contact, it looked like, with the 47 of John Held. I don't think that damage is too bad as Borst gets very loose there, drives it in hard, but keeps it together. We got to look back up front, though. There's Nick Cohen, Kyle Heath. Look at that gap close up as Kyle Heath in the 54 Me Marie Designs car gets a good run off the high line through turns 1 and 2. Keep an eye on this battle for the lead. It is... Oh, Kyle Heath hard into the wall! Oh my goodness gracious, Kyle Heath! Heartbreak Hotel! Oh my goodness gracious, Kyle Heath! Somewhere in the big mansion in Los Angeles, Billy Ray Cyrus is singing, "Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart," for Kyle Heath as he watches our Green White Checker TV broadcast. Let's back it up. We'll go on board with Kyle Heath. Watch what happened. Trying to push it for everything he has to Nick Cohen here. We see him maybe gets on the throttle a little early and just clips the wall. Something we've all done, trying to follow the leader. And then hard, add insult to injury. Hard into the inside wall. Screeches to a halt. And his achy, breaky heart is hurt. Wonder if we could see here. Just watch, just pushes up a little too high into the wall, and that's enough. I think we can catch it from another angle here. Here's our corner exit. Watch the cars enter the track there. Nick Cohen first, Kyle Heath. Watch that second car in line. Just Ew, and it's inches. It is inch. And John Held, you see him hit it there. A couple guys trying to get everything that they can. Trying to get anything that they can there with these 18 laps to go. Now 16 laps to go. Any of the fuel strategy talk that I had earlier is totally out the window. Now everybody's going to make it on fuel, but look at all of that damage on the 54 of Kyle Heath. That is not what you want to have happen. Drivers coming in the pits from about 10th on back. These are drivers: John Bors, Mike Peters, Josh Yarbrough, John Held, Todd Merkel, James Ledford, everybody who's had damage tonight. Look at the 48 car to the right side, all scraped up. The Exalta's paint scheme is going to need some more paint after this night is over. So the top 13 cars have stayed on the track. Top 13 have stayed on the track as we watch our drivers roll down pit lane here. Kyle Heath, now this is something, you just saw it there, something that they run with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. The 86 of John Bors is probably another. John Held looks like another. A quick repair, something that I'm sure a lot of drivers in the real world would love to have. Quick repair. So for those of you not familiar with the iRacing service, a quick repair means, well, if you come down to the pit lane with damage, you can hit a button and your car will be instantly fixed. And that's something that the Area 51 guys, the Area 51 administrators have put in here for these drivers for incidents like that. Kyle Heath, strong run all night. Incident all by his own doing, and we even see some guys get caught up in other people's incidents where that could be a lifesaver. It can allow these guys to get back in the action. You know, at the end of the day, we're all playing the video game to have fun here. Serious as we get with it, as competitive as we get with it. So it just gives everybody an opportunity to get back out there. You know, you have an incident in the race, a big incident like Kyle Heath we just saw. You can get back out there and drive it back up through the field. So very, very fun to watch here, as it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to get the 1 to go signal here as our field starts to double back up. And let's set the scene here as our field rolls down into turn 1 under the pace car. Lots of caution flags tonight with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. Kind of all over the place, too. Single car wrecks, multi-car wrecks. We saw a big one a little bit earlier. So Nick Cohen, there he is, the Circle Jerks podcast, TRD, Toyota Racing Development, Beer Hill Gang, Dizzy Zone, number 21 Toyota Camry of Nick Cohen sits in first. Next to him, Maxwell Caldwell, and Isaiah Sutherland sits in third position. We've been watching him all night on our YouTube chat. Good strong run for Isaiah Sutherland. Gary Silipinski has worked his way back up to fourth. Probably one of the top 3 cars on the track. Nick Cohen, Silipinski, and Heath. 3 fastest cars on the track tonight, and Eric Shaw has took advantage of that. Up to 5th position. Top 5 for Eric Shaw. Happy to see that. And Ryan Kelly with that damage earlier. He still looks like he still has some damage over there on that right side. The Dynaco number 13 sits in 6th. Chris Jabou in the beautiful looking 83 car. Larry Blair in a strong 8th place position. Jim Brooks and Jason Adams are top 10. Now, we're going to jump back here. Top 13, Mike Peters, first car on pit lane. Something to watch on this restart. As we go back up front now to watch our starter cam. 13 laps to go. Lucky 13 as we get our restart. Nick Cohen waiting. There it is. Green flag in the air. Isaiah Sutherland. Let's look down towards our turn 1 cam. There's Sutherland on the inside. Looks like about a car length back, and Nick Cohen. Caldwell tucked up. Gary Silipinski tucked up as well. Side by side, Sutherland slams the door. into turn 2. A tunnel turn. This is where Kyle Heath had his issues earlier. So 12 laps to go as we're side by side for second position. Maxwell Caldwell, the Oreo machine. On the inside, Isaiah Sutherland, the youthful Nectar. Me Marie Designs #1. Big run on the top. There's caution is out. Caution, caution, caution on the speedway. Lots of action here, it looks like. Let me go back and see if we could find what happened. Looks like Larry Blair, Chris Jabou was involved. Let's take a look. Not where I want to look right there. Let me try again. Here we go. Here we are, racing off into turn 1. Let's see what happened. Looks like the big incident for the 83 car. Let's see if we can go on board. Sometimes that's tough. Our camera's not pointing quite in the right position. Big crash. But let's go on board with Larry Blair. Let's diagnose what happened first, and then we'll go back and watch our wreckage. So here we are, side by side. We see the 72 with Shaw's, the 83 of Jabou. Jabou just gets loose and hooks it. Big incident there. And then here comes the field. Be ready for the hits. Brace yourselves. Scare. That was Kyle Heath. Tough, tough break for Kyle Heath. Let's see. Can we catch it from our camera here? I'm going to try to go with our drone cam. See if we can see what happened. Here we are aboard our drone cam here. Green Check Your TV drone cam. Side by side. Was there contact? Nope. The 83 just loses it. Chris Jabou. And then here's Larry Blair. Nowhere to go. Jim Brooks squeaks on by. Jason Adams squeaks on by. Behind him, look at all of the carnage. Very unfortunate. Not what we want to see out there. Now let's kind of take a look here. 10 laps to go, so we're going to be in single digits. Should be 8 to go on our restart. I don't think the pace car lights, yes, they're still on, so we should have 8 laps to go on the restart. And as our chat shows, look who's in second, Isaiah Sutherland. And let's see if we can get a word with Isaiah while we're under caution flag here. There he is, the youthful Nectar #1. Isaiah Sutherland, this is Nick in the broadcast booth. You have a copy.
I got you, man.
Well, Isaiah, we've been kind of watching you all night. You've had a nice and steady race. Started back about 8th position, up to 2nd now. You're getting a bunch of shout-outs in our YouTube chat. Everyone's loving what you're doing out there. Tell us about your night so far, and what do you got for this 21 Toyota Camry in front of you?
That's awesome. First time I ever heard I got fans, so thank all you guys. Gonna be honest with you here, man. I am not usually particularly good at Pocono. I'm mediocre at best. I usually finish 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. But I'm hardly ever able to capture a win here. So, honestly, I'm trying to hold back old Caldwell and Gary Subskinski behind me. And I'd like to focus on Nicholas here, but I just don't know really what I need to do. I'm hoping some luck's on my side and maybe I get a good restart here.
Yeah, well, it's been fun to watch, and we'll see what you can do. Strong car tonight, and looks like kept the nose clean. So best of luck in these last, should be 8 laps, I think, when we restart.
10-4. Thanks, buddy.
And you heard it. That was Isaiah Sutherland in the number 1 Youthful Nectar machine. Yeah, thanks for coming in the chat here, Kyle. Man, tough luck out there tonight. Unfortunately, so we've all had those nights on the racetrack where we're running strong and we just kind of throw it away on our own. Doing everything you could to push the 21 car, try to get him to make a mistake, and just very competitive out there tonight. We can't wait to see you back next week with what you could do. We know you always have a strong car. Let's give Me Marie Designs a big shout out for sponsoring that 54, Kyle Heath. So let's reset the field again here. Let's take a look at what we got. We got Nick Cohen, the Dizzy Zone Circle Jerks podcast, Beer Hill Gang, TRD, Toyota Camry, the number 21 car, Nick Cohen. Isaiah Sutherland next to him in the Youthful Nectar, Me Marie Designs, Logitech, number 1, Chevy Camaro. Third place, we got the Oreos, Caterpillar, Pinnacle, number 94, Maxwell Caldwell. And fourth, we got Gary Silipinski, the Furniture Row, Cohen Police, number 78. Ryan Kelly in the Dynaco, number 13, and Eric Shaw's 6th position, the Hot Wheels Mattel, number 72. Jim Brooks, the Area 51, DCF Realty, Green White Checker TV, number 51, Ford Mustang. And Jason Adams, sitting next to him in the DuPont Quaker State Sparkle, number 24, Jeff Gordon lookalike, Jason Adams. 9th, we got the Raising Cane's Repairify machine of Mike Peters as we're getting ready for our restart, ladies and gentlemen. 8 laps to go. Who do we think it's going to be, or do you think we're going to get another caution flag? Let's see. Nick Cohen, big jump on the field there. Let's watch our field race down towards turn 1. Lots of damage on some of the cars out in the back. Sutherland and Caldwell side by side for second. Nick Cohen's going to want to see that. Let those guys run side by side, says Nick. Not me, Nick. Nick on the track. Let me just pull away. It's Silipinski. Will Silipinski make it 3 wide? You see him closing up the gap. He's closer. Nowhere to go. 3 wide in the tunnel turn. We saw that did not work out well earlier. Will Sutherland keep his nose there? No. Caldwell gonna get the advantage. Now Maxwell Caldwell, points leader, Oreos machine, gonna set his sights on the number 21 to Nick Cohen, newcomer to the series. But here's our battle for 3rd position, Isaiah Sutherland and the number 78 Cohen Police Furniture Row car, Gary Silipinski. Silipinski, strong car tonight, tough break in the pits on a couple pit stops. Big run there as Sutherland slaps the wall. Sutherland slaps the wall. Now Silipinski gets a run on the inside. Off into the tunnel turn now. Going to be tricky for these guys to run side by side there. And there goes Silipinski along by Isaiah Sutherland. Nick Cohen still leads. That's the gap. About 0.4 of a second back to Maxwell Caldwell in the Oreos machine. Silipinski and the Cohen Police got his fishing rod and reel out, trying to reel these boys back in like he's reeling a bass out there on Long Pond off the backstretch. That time by, though, Nick Cohen with a 54.51, currently fast time on the board. Maxwell Caldwell about 0.5 off, and Silipinski about 0.4 off of him. Nick Cohen leads, 6 laps to go. Isaiah Sutherland just behind. Looks like Isaiah Sutherland, or I'm sorry, Maxwell Caldwell. Maxwell Caldwell hasn't been up there all night. I'm all confused up here in the booth. Gaining time on Nick Cohen. Could this be Nick Cohen's undoing that? He has the Oreo machine behind him. Nick Cohen is a boy that loves cookies, and he's got an Oreo chasing him. We're on board with Caldwell here. Maxwell Caldwell, 5 laps to go. The flagman giving everybody the high five as the yellow has come out. Caution, caution, caution on the speedway. just as Maxwell Caldwell started to reel in Nick Cohen, Mark Brown with an issue. Let's take a look, see if we can catch the replay. Here's Mark Brown, the Jack Daniels number 73. Mane and Tail also sponsors that car. What happens here? We see some cars in front of him. Jason Adams moving up the track. What happens to Mark Brown? Just gets loose coming out of the corner. Can't save it. Tries to chase it into the pits. Oh my goodness gracious! Mark Brown. Oh. I hope he is okay after that. Let's go on board again with the Jack Daniels car. The pain that you feel from that incident. He almost had it to pit lane. He would have been okay when he got loose. I think that's what he was aiming for. Look at this, trying to chase it down to the pit lane and just, oh my goodness gracious. That one hurts. Boy, I felt that one in my stomach, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Brown, though, we hear, yep, Mark Brown out of the car, and he is okay. These next-gen cars, like NASCAR intended, very, very safe machines. Very, very safe machine. So glad Mark Brown's okay, though. Boy, let's see. We're under caution. Let's see if I can grab a word with Maxwell Caldwell quickly. Maxwell Caldwell, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy?
10-4, gotcha.
Well, Maxwell, you were kind of, chipping away all night, and now you're here sitting in second place. Looks like we're going to restart. This may be a green-white checkered when we go back to the restart. Man, you have anything for that 21 car?
If that run would have continued playing out, I think I could have, but I don't know with the way restarts are and him having control, just 2 laps, I don't think we can get it wound up enough to get around him. It's hard to get going. If I can get some of my teammates here behind me to stay with me and give just big pushes to draft up to him, we might have a shot, but man, when he's got control of the restart and it's only 2 to go, it's the leader's got it made. So I'm just happy to be in the top 3. We've been kind of off pace all night, all in practice and everything. So to even be up here in second contending is a big shocker. And I love Pocono, but this setup is awfully tight all night, so it's not to my liking. But we'll make the most of it.
Here we can see that tightness, like a lot of guys slapping the wall. Well, I think we've done it 3 times this year. We're going to do it again. You're going to have a shot for the win here with a green-white checkered finish on green-white checkered TV. Hopefully we talk to you in a couple minutes.
Yeah, let's hope I don't get hooked, get punted, get anything else. Let's hope this just finishes clean here. Should be fun. Should be exciting.
All right, thanks for chatting with us, Maxwell.
10-4.
And you heard it, Maxwell Caldwell there. That's the Orioles number 94. Now, yeah, let's set the scene here. We're going to have a green-white checker finish again on green-white checker TV. Something, keeps happening this year with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. 3 races so far. 4 races so far, 3 of which we get a green-white checkered finish. So, ladies and gentlemen, as our field here, I think, let me check. Pace car is still out, so I'm not going to build up the hype yet. I thank everybody for talking in our chat tonight. Happy to have Kyle Heath there. Unfortunately for Kyle, incident there took him out of the race, so it's nice to see that our drivers here at the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series come in the chat, give a little ask me anything about the races here. Talking about the old 2 weeks ago at Texas, Kyle Heath had an amazing finish with Maxwell Caldwell on our last green-white checkered restart. It was a spectacular race all night and spectacular finish. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Skylo22, Nathan Friesma, thanks for tuning in. Kadiri, thanks for tuning in. Not So Common Sense, thanks for tuning in. Agi BTZ, thanks for tuning in. Happy to have you guys along with us for the ride here, as it looks like the lights on the pace car are out. The lights on the pace car have gone out here in the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, at Pocono Raceway, a track that was built in 1969, has held all types of races from NASCAR to IndyCar to the Race of Champions Asphalt Modified Series. We've seen some great drivers on this speedway: Richard Petty, Al Unser, Mario Andretti, Helio Castro Neves, Satch Worley, Reggie Ruggiero, Mike Stefanik, Richie Evans, and more. And now one other driver is going to put their name in the history books alongside those greats. As we roll down the Long Pond straightaway. Hopefully the last time under caution for these guys. I think Nick Cohen's antsy to get this race going. Ladies and gentlemen, as we watch on Green White Checker TV, who do you think's got the hot shoe tonight? Is it going to be Nick Cohen in the 21 car? Is it going to be Ryan Kelly in the number 13? Is it going to be Gary Silipinski in the number 78? Is it going to be Jim Brooks in the number 51? How many of you have Isaiah Sutherland in the number 1 car? How about Maxwell Caldwell in the number 94? 2 laps to go. Green, white, checkered with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series on Green, White, Checker TV, and the green flag is back out. Nick Cohen with the early jump. Maxwell Caldwell, Gary Silipinski, Isaiah Sutherland all line up, nose to tail, trying to gain. That was Maxwell Caldwell's strategy. Didn't lose quite as much time as he did previously to Nick Cohen. We're going to watch this battle for the lead from here on out. Maxwell Caldwell, big run down the backstretch. Can he close up the gap on the inside of the Dizzy Zone machine? We see him closing as we reach the end of the Long Pond straightaway. Can't quite get there. Drives it in hard. There's Nick Cohen just ahead. Cohen backs it down just a little bit to get a good run off, and he does. Down the short chute now, entering turn 3, inspired by the famed Milwaukee Mile in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Green flag still out. Can Nick Cohen get to the white? Got a little bit of a gap now on Maxwell Caldwell. That was a good turns 3 and 4 for Nick Cohen. The Dizzy Zone Circle Jerks Podcast, Beer Hill Gang, Dizzy Motorsports number 21 Toyota Camry. Here we go now as we race down through turns 1 and 1 for a final time. Nick Cohen got about a 2-car length lead on Maxwell Caldwell. This is where Caldwell made a big move earlier on the previous lap, but Nick Cohen holds it strong down the Long Pond straightaway for the final time. Nick Cohen, as Maxwell Caldwell closed up the gap, he gets in hard through the tunnel turn. Can he close it up though on the exit? No, he doesn't. Caldwell gets loose. That's going to open up the door for Nick Cohen. Nick Cohen from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. 30 minutes down the road, his home track, first race ever with the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series. There he is, the Dizzy Zone number 21, Nick Cohen takes the checkered flag at Pocono Raceway. Followed in second by Gary Silipinski, Maxwell Caldwell, Isaiah Sutherland, and Jim Brooks rounding out the top 5. Wow, and wow. What an amazing race tonight. Could you ask for anything better? Side-by-side action, big crashes, drivers coming from the back to the front. Check out these stats, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Cohen gained 2 positions. Gary Silipinski lost 1. Maxwell Caldwell plus 8. Isaiah Sutherland plus 4. Jim Brooks plus 9. Eric Shaw's plus 6. Jason Adams plus 19 from 29th to 10th. Mike Peters in the 95. Plus 13 from 24th to 11th. What an absolutely amazing race. And there he is, the number 21, Nick Cohen, the Dizzy Zone Circle Jerks Podcast, getting love from his teammate John Borst in the number 86. Let's see if we can get a word as we're going to start slowing this down. Let's see if we can get a word as Nick Cohen's pulling in. do a burnout. Look at that car. Look at that. We're going to watch this here. Let him burn it down for a second as he does the Polish victory lap. Very classy for Nick Cohen. Pulls it around backwards, waving to the fans. And stops it. Trying to do a backwards burnout. Nick Cohen, first time winner here. As he does, we're going to jump to Maxwell Caldwell. We talked to him. Let's see if we can get a word with Maxwell Caldwell, our third place finisher tonight. Maxwell Caldwell, this is Nick in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, long time no speak.
Well, Maxwell, looks like you gave it all you had. Is there anything else he could have done there to catch the 21?
Nah, I mean, I knew he seemed a little bit loose, and I've been bad on the short runs all night, but there on that last set of tires, I just felt a little better. I guess the cleaner air helped, but he had speed, but I felt like compared to the other drivers, I was able to stay with him and even gain on him just a little bit. But when you're right behind somebody, you lose all air on the nose, and here at Pocono, that's so crucial. So I knew he was in the catbird seat for that restart, and I lost a little bit of time in turn 3 with 2 to go, coming to 1. And so I tried to stay even with him in 1 and 2. And when I got into turn 2, I just tried to go a little too hard and about eat the wall. So just kissed it, and that allowed the 78 to get that run on me. And he had to take it as the last lap going into 3. And at that point, I was just trying to fight for second. So 21 ran a great race, but it was hard to pass tonight. So I think we had speed at the end to win. But, hey, top 3 after starting 11th, I can take that because I didn't expect even a top 5. So.
Yeah, another great points run for you. I think you'll still hold your lead here. The highest finisher of the points guys. I think Silpinski may have gained a couple on you. But before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, first and foremost, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Without him, I wouldn't be here. So super thankful for him and what he's done for me in my life. And thankful for all my teammates getting to run with Gary Sklopinski, Dave Bush, Ryan Kelly, Mike Peters, and the gang. Just always fun getting to joke around and run with them and kind of learn from them throughout the race. So they had speed early, and I was able to learn from some stuff they were doing. And thankful for you guys with the broadcast. Actually was listening and learned a little shifting technique mid-race that kind of helped me get around Dave Bush. So thank you for that, Nick. A little insight there. And thankful for you guys. Y'all always do a great job. And finally for Area 51 for putting on this league. When they first went NextGen a couple seasons ago, I wasn't a fan. But since they've updated this car and you really got to wheel it now, I'm loving it. So it's a lot of fun. Love the guys we race with. It's just a good league.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch out there, and we can't wait to see you next week.
10-4.
All right, that was Maxwell Caldwell. Now we're going to jump in. Gary Silopinski in the number 78 Cohen Police Machine, finishing in second. Let's have a word with Gary Silopinski. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Gary, tell us a little bit about your night. Looks like you were up front all night. Maybe some pit strategy there. Put you a little bit behind the 8 ball, though, on those final couple restarts.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but my pit crew guys didn't change the tires. I was sitting there, and then all of a sudden it changed the tires. And I was like, okay, I just lost about 4 or 5 spots here. I don't know what's going on, but, I mean, to come back and finish second is pretty good, so I'll take a second.
Yeah, another strong run for you tonight. Do you think if your pit crew didn't fall asleep on the job, you would have had anything for that 21 car?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe if I was out front, but he was really, really fast tonight. And I don't think I could have had anything for him. I mean, Pocono is not my thing, so for me to come out of here with a second, I'm very happy. So I don't think I had anything for the 21 tonight, to be honest with you.
All right, before we let you go, Gary, anybody you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank you guys doing this. Green White Checker. I'd like to thank Area 51 putting this on. They do a great job for everything they do out here. And my wife and kids for letting me do this every night. And everybody out there watching, thank you.
All right, Gary, thanks for talking to us, and can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you. Happy night.
All right, that was Gary Silopinski in the number 78 Cohen Police Furniture Row Ford Mustang. And now we get an opportunity to talk to our winner, Nick Cohen. And then we'll drag him down to our green, white, checkered TV booth. And ladies and gentlemen, we have our race winner in the number 21 Dizzy Zone Beer Hill Gang Toyota Camry, Nick Cohen. Nick, do you have a copy with us?
I got you, Nick.
Well, Nick, tell us about your night, man. You started up front, you led most of the laps, and you won the thing. How was it out there?
It was interesting. Never drove this car at Pocono. It was very different from any other car I've ever driven here before, and but Pocono is one of my best tracks. So it was tricky, but a lot of the same tools that you use in other cars here worked here in this car. It was just a little more touchier. The car was really tight. You just had to kind of make up for that in other ways. Make sure you get good runs off the corners, and made a couple mistakes on pit road, slid through the box, and DeBall dropped the fuel can and almost really threw this one right out the window. That was a couple scary moments on pit road, but thankfully everybody's okay, and we kept this thing in the hunt. This Dizzy Zone Toyota Camry is fast. I got to thank everybody at Dizzy Zone for coming on board for at Pocono here for this one race deal. It just had to stay out of trouble. It was I felt really good in the long run early on, middle of the race, and as the race went on there, I could tell we were going to have a lot of restarts at the end, so I drove a lot harder on the starts, and I knew if we stayed green, I might not have been able to hold on to it there. The 78, Gary was really fast tonight. I was worried about him in the 54. They had a ton of speed, and I think if we had a green run there late, because of how hard I was driving in the early goings of the starts, I'm not sure I would have been able to hold on. But thankfully we did, and we put this number 21 in victory lane.
It was awesome to watch you battle with those guys early on. Looked like, what was it like with the track position tonight? We saw guys shifting, trying to gain some time with that. We followed along with that, but it sort of seemed like you kind of got locked down in position there. Was there a lot of aero push as you were out there tonight?
Yeah, I was kind of experimenting with shifting. In practice I was using it the whole time, and then during the race I started with it, then I went without, and I was kind of just trying to balance it. And when you kind of had to shift when you got to into traffic. This thing really is just an Indy car. It drives just like it. It's a lot heavier and slower. It drives almost identical to an Indy car here, unfortunately. But it's just you get behind somebody and the nose just wants to take off. So you had to compensate, especially because the car was already tight in the first place. So if you downshifted, you could try and make your way through that. But the car in general was just very tight. You had to be very precise with your throttle and brake, and it was so easy to get on the throttle thinking you could, just put the pedal to the floor, and that wasn't the case. I was a couple times there in those late restarts, I had to feather it coming off and thought I was going to hit the wall and blow it, but we didn't. So it was a tricky, fun race, though.
All right, before we let you go, Nick, is there anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, like I said, got to thank all the guys on Dizzy Zone for coming on board, all my teammates at Dizzy Motorsports, CG Automotive, Perk Coffee, Beer Hill Gang, the fine folks at Circle Jerk Podcast. Good podcast. You want to listen to it on all your favorite platforms. Other than that, just want to thank Area 51 for having me tonight. Thank all the guys for racing me really clean, and of course, Green White Checkered TV for putting on this broadcast.
All right, Nick, thanks for talking to us, and congratulations on your win. Hopefully we see you back here at the Area 51 Next Gen Cup Series soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, and that was Nick Cohen talking to us. Let's do a final field rundown here. I'm going to jump back to our live cam, and let's look at our final race results. Let's pull these up. Nick Cohen, our winner in the number 21 Disney Motorsports car. Gary Silipinski, Maxwell Caldwell, Isaiah Sutherland, and Jim Brooks round out our top 5. Great run tonight for Jim Brooks. I believe that's his first top 5 of the season. Ryan Kelly, Eric Shaws, John Borst, another newbie this series with the top 10. John Held, and Jason Adams. A strong run for Jason Adams, another top 10 finish. Mike Peters comes home in 11th. Joseph Morales, James Ledford, Joshua Yarborough, Derek Gilray, and Todd Merkel round out your top 16. Following them, Derek Walker, Mark Brown, Joseph DeCiro, Michael Malm, Kawabi Brooks, Jack Walls, Larry Blair, Chris Jaboo, and Kyle Heath. Tough luck for Kyle Heath, finishes 25th position. Michael Howlett, Michael Accord, Dave Bush, Robert DuPont, and Joseph Gurjavali round out our 30 field, and Craig Bristol, unable to make the start tonight. Tough luck for Craig Bristol, and that's going to bring us an end to our broadcast this evening. It was a wonderful night of racing action here on Green White Checker TV. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for all the chats in the YouTube chat, everybody, and until we meet again, good night.